profoundest apologies. I was off doing things with Atlanta United 2, and the world's kind of collided. No dilly, no dally zone. It is Soccer's in Session Playoff Daily Live. I'm going to Hazelhurst, and we are not wasting any time. We're catching up with Coach Lawson because it's big stuff going on in the Pinelands. How are you, my friend?
Good. How you doing?
You tell me. You're the one who's chasing after wins and history and all this kind of stuff. What's it been like to have your first ever doubleheader and getting ready for a new round? What was that like?
There it is, early. We talked about last time on here. It's the stuff that's not on the grass. That's the crazy stuff, like the electrical work going on. We have construction going on to a soccer locker room now, which has put a little wrinkle on our plans for visiting teams coming down. But went smooth, nothing too crazy. Girls got the win, 3-0. Boys win 7-2 over Bacon rival. Coming into town, it's always good to beat Bacon County, no matter what the score is. So lucky enough that both sides are able to host today as well. Hoping we can take care of business today and keep it going.
When you have time to kind of look at things, and it might be a day less, what is film study like? Once again, trying to do things on a quick turn and understand what you learned about yourself in a win, but put it to the side and not dwell on it because you got to focus on the next round here in round 2.
So for us, our first 2 practices were about us trying to fix little things there with our girls' side, just trying to finish. We had a ton of chances early against Jasper and just couldn't capitalize on putting the ball in the back of the net. But we've worked on those things this week. Same on the boys' side. Bacon County came out, I feel like, played their best match they've played all season. Like, they were solid, structurally sound, and we were able to score a few early that really just put us ahead with them scoring a couple late. But film-wise, it's us the first 2 or 3 days, and then we really start to work on our opponent the last 2 days, day and a half, more strategic, like on set-piece stuff and seeing different weaknesses. But during this time of the year, regular season, people want to share film with you and help out. This time of year, ain't nobody sharing film. So we were lucky enough that how our boys' schedule worked out, we could send a couple coaches and go scout after a practice and talk to some folks that I have a few buddies in the soccer world down here that gave me a little help on some stuff. But film was hard to come by. Now all region opponents don't want to help each other. Somebody's trying to talk to you to get your film to give to somebody else. So everybody's real secretive. So it was a little tough.
Well, I mean, and that sounds like the other. Well, all right. So then let me compare. What's it like when you're in the playoffs in Football Fridays, FOOTBALL in the fall? Is it easier during the fall than it is during soccer season?
Oh, it's way easier. So, like, when we hit the first round of football, we're going to have 11 films on the opponent we're playing in the playoffs, and probably a spring game and probably a couple of summer practices and some car footage from someone filming from the parking lot. Like, we're going to have everything. And in our region, we agree, like, the previous 2 games we'll share. So we automatically got film on opponent. And when we get the playoffs, sometimes it's previous 3. All depends there. Now, soccer, how it is, some people might not film, some people might, then they don't share. And so it's crazy in that world where it's a lot of legwork. What's helped a lot was in FHS Live, a lot of people are filming games where we can, if it's still up, we can try and sneak a peek at somebody here and there. But for the most part, it's backdoor dealings, trying to just talk to people to get info on folks.
That's crazy. That literally, it's like you're going into the dark alleys with looking like the private detective from the movies in the 60s with the long coat and the dark, like Mike Hammer. You're trying to get all this film and stuff. That's crazy.
Yes, it is. So, and I know a couple coaches that they don't scout; they just worry about themselves. And then, like me, I come from the football side that we try, and I'm a big set piece guy because that equals goals. That's an opportunity every single time to get a score, no matter what. So we always try and find something on someone with set pieces or free kicks and those things. And so film's important, or at least getting eyes on somebody so you can see like formations and those type of things.
How much, when it comes to set pieces specifically, does it stay in the book? Are you adding to the playbook with set pieces as you go? Like if you see something on the training pitch, let's try that. And it's like, that looks, and we always say on the air, that looks like something from the training ground. Do you have those, or do you contract your playbook when it comes to set pieces in the playoffs, or do you expand, or what?
So, like when in football season, your trick plays and what you do, you try and dwindle it down because you try and do the small things the best you can,
Yeah.
and you don't have a lot of time in between to get better. Well, for me, we have our set stuff. We go into about 4 or 5 different corner kicks, a couple set piece plays we have, and then when we get further along the season, we start adding. Um, we're watching European League soccer every day. Our coaches, our kids, and if we see something that we like, we're going to steal it. We're going to try and if they can do it, we can do it in our minds. So we'll we expand on it, and especially when we see an opponent like that's doing something that we think we can exploit, we're going to try and add something or a new wrinkle in there because, like I said, people that do have film, you might see certain things that we do, but we try and change it up.
All right. So, what was the last piece of professional soccer that you watched where you sat there and it's like, ooh, I like that? What match did you see that you pulled something from?
So Everton was playing Manchester United a few weeks ago, and or maybe 3 weeks ago, and we had always talked about adding somebody to the wall and on our side, so our set piece trying to block the keeper, and we've never done it. And so we looked the rules up to try and see how you can, and 2 or less people doesn't constitute as a wall, so you can be shoulder to shoulder. 3 or more is a wall, and you got to be about a yard in front or a yard behind. And so down here, some of these officials we have that are some younger guys, they don't know exact the rules per se. So we tried it in a match, and kid got busted with a yellow card, and I let him know what I thought about it. But end of the day, at the end of it, he came over and he apologized. He was wrong. We were right. And so we tried to add it in, and actually it worked for us, but we used it a little bit later. And the officials we had, I talked to them before the game, and they were cool with it. But just something here and there, everybody's trying to put someone laying down behind the wall so when you jump, you can block it, or you try and hit one on the ground behind, or sneak something like yesterday. I forgot who I was watching yesterday. It might have been, it wasn't Barcelona. It's match before. The whole free kick was set up. The whole offensive side was 5 yards past the wall off sides. And so on the free kick coming in with the back line moving, it's set up perfect where they were in line. Not all they got called for it with VAR, but something different.
Yeah, I mean the Declan Rice service was crazy to the back post on that one, and that one obviously got called back. But that's are you a coach that believes in having a player laying down behind the wall? Are you team everybody upright, or do you have the player laying down behind your wall? How are you? What team are you?
It really depends on who we're playing. So there's a rival team we play that their free kick taker, he's pretty smart, and so he knows what's going on. So we'll try and sneak one back there to catch him every now and then because he'll go under the wall. And then, but 90% of the time we don't. We're just going to be standing. We're not going to put no one down because we feel like we're wasting. And if they can get one under there, that guy's really kid I'm talking about is really, really good. So he can do it. But really game plan type thing. If we sit in the game, we'll add somebody. So,
looking at and finding out your Zapruder like information on your opponents when Lamar County, who is Team 9 ranked number 10, is coming to check out team ranked number 6 Team 8. What does Lamar County bring to the table on the girls' side?
So they have a really good winger that makes me super nervous. She can move really well. She's fast. She's athletic. Lamar's trying to get the ball to her out diagonally. Sort of like when we played Thomasville earlier in the year. That's what Thomasville likes to do and work the ball back to the top of the 18. They got about 3 or 4 girls that can shoot it. So trying to stack the box. We worked a lot this week on defending the box, as I call it, step into, not letting people have free range at the top. And for the second week in a row, we have a keeper that can play with her feet. Like, we don't see that a lot down here where that back line will actually drop the ball to a girl keeper and like she can dribble it around and move it where she wants to go. So we got a couple things up our sleeve for that if that takes place. We were prepared for it last week and Jasper didn't do it to us, so we didn't get to do anything. So, but they can score now. They played Jasper in the regular season twice. They beat them 9-0 and then beat them 3-1 the second time. So if we're going to have to score, and that's been our issue here lately, we've put more into the attack and putting our defenders on a little bit more island, but we're going to have to make a run. So.
Yep. Girls side, Jeff Davis beat Jasper County in round 1, 8-25. And now you're advancing to take on Lamar. Ranked number 6, taking on team ranked number 10, Lamar County shut out Coosa to get down to Hazelhurst. On the boys side, once again, you beat Bacon. You're ranked number 6. Shockingly, once again, you're playing the 10th ranked team in the scoreboard rankings in Swainsboro. What does Swainsboro bring to the table for you on the boys side?
Swainsboro's having one of those seasons this year. We used to play them in the region, and we used to always pick them up, and we haven't played them in the last few years. And they are a completely different team than they've been in the past when we played them. They have a new coach over there that's very organized. They got a few. Their players are a little different than they've had in the past. I believe, this is the first time they've made it past the first round in the state playoffs. So congratulations to them. Like they're doing things up there in Emmanuel County that ain't been done.
Yeah.
They pretty athletic. They got a few kids that play club ball. I know some of them. One of my former players coaches some of them on their club team, so I know a little bit about them. But they can play. They can score. They held Berrien. They beat Berrien 1-0 in the first round. They had a missed PK, I think, in the first half. They should have scored. And then common opponent, like they play Toombs. Toombs beat them 2-0. And Toombs County is a dog. Like we've talked about Toombs all the time. So they're definitely no slouch coming from where they are, but they're having a great season.
When you have a question about philosophy, approach, dealing with players, who is on your speed dial when it comes to advice? Who are the folks that you sit there and, hey, I need to call somebody, they'll pick up the phone. Who are those folks for you that will answer the phone if you've got questions about what's going on?
So my previous one, we talked about me getting this job when I was a big FIFA guy and wasn't a big soccer guy when I come into this. I got a buddy up at Towns County. His name's Evan Woodard. I was super close to growing up. He's from the Dublin area. His dad's coached all around there. He's like me in the terms of soccer, like love it, watch it, live it, breathe it. But he's a football guy, and I've known him forever. So he's up there now. We worked together at Jenkins County and Bullitt County when we were there. He's a go-to for me, 100%. Of course, Coach Lance Helton. He's my guy if we have anything going on. And Coach Jacob Lord, who's at Statesboro High now, he's also one of my really close friends that if I need advice on players and situate, not just on the field side, like he's really good with up here type stuff and helps me out with that. And then any soccer type thing, like me and Jeremy Moore at Toombs are pretty tight. We bounce ideas off of each other, not being in the same region now, but we're still really close. We talk all the time, especially throughout the playoffs, about different things that are happening with his squad because he's also a girls and boys coach. So when I first took this job doing both, he was the first one I reached out to just to see how the heck he does it. Because it's new trying to do two things at once in a limited amount of time, especially us with no turf. We're on grass, so you're having to move a bunch of times so you don't till it up. But those are probably my go-to guys.
All right. Cut the promo for me about what's going on. Doubleheader. It is on the girls' side. Lamar visiting Jeff Davis. On the boys' side, it is Swainsboro visiting Jeff Davis. Hit the promo.
So baseball doubleheader today. Home try to get it moved where we didn't have them on the same day, but they're playing at 4. So hopefully we're hoping they can clean sweep and Mercy Rural Worth twice so we can get some of those people to the Pinelands into the football stadium. But girls taking on Lamar, a quality opponent, hosting at home. Boys hosting Swainsboro at home. There's nowhere else to be wherever you're at than in the Pinelands on the pitch, seeing it happen for us. We got a lot of things still going on. My electrical's back running in the press box. So hopefully our horn will be blasting, lights will be below and all that good stuff today. So we're looking for 2 wins for the Yellow Jackets, and hopefully we can keep moving on. Boys will be hosting again. Hoping the girls would, but we'd be traveling to Bremen potentially, which has been our nemesis in the past. So, but don't count your eggs to the hatch. So we're hoping for 2 wins today, no matter if it's by 1 or by 50 wins a win. So we just need it.
Absolutely. It's always great to see you, my friend. Thanks for dropping by on the daily, and may everything go as planned. Looking forward to seeing the results. We'll be keeping an eye on the scores tonight. Thanks for coming by, as always, and being a great friend with us here at SDH.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Go Jackets.
There it is, and there goes Coach Lawson. So Jeff Davis, that's the story down there in the Pinelands. Doubleheader action today. So you're going from baseball to the doubleheader at the football stadium, and it's been really cool to see the development of the Jeff Davis program, and especially the perseverance of everyone in Jeff Davis County because of what has happened with Helene and all of the swath that she laid out through that particular section of Georgia. And what I would recommend is there's a story that we did during FOOTBALL season, football season. Excuse me. And it was a piece that we did when Jeff Davis's high school football came back and played for the first time after Helene had gone through. And so it's a story that we can't thank our friends at Jeff Davis enough to at least tell a little bit of the story about what's going on in the Pinelands back in football season. So next time Brian comes on, first question I need to ask him is, how is everybody? And so it's really cool to see what's going on there at Jeff Davis. They've got the doubleheader, and we'll go over the brackets and let you know what's going on today. We will also going to hear from Kelly Bowler, the head coach at Johns Creek, after the match last night. They got a 1-0 win at McIntosh. Jason caught up with Kelly. We'll call that in just a little bit. And then bottom of the hour, it's Coach Galvin from Lassiter. Find out, considering that they're traveling now to Greenbrier. We got the Greenbrier story yesterday from Rob Houston when he was in his car in his planning period. Hopefully he didn't get in any trouble. Yeah, I've got to go out to my car to do an interview. It was a quiet location, and it was there, and so hopefully he didn't get into any trouble. But Lassiter is now traveling to Greenbrier. So we got both sides of that equation hanging out with us here in just a little bit. So that's Soccer is in Session Live. Sorry about the absolutely crazy 900-mile-an-hour open. Like I said, considering we were trying to do or catching up with Atlanta United too because of that broadcast on Saturday night. And so literally it was the second that my interview with Javi Armas was over, I came over here, and that's why we're like a minute late, and I apologize for that. But we got brackets, we got your thoughts, we got everything on the table that is here on Soccer is in Session Playoff Daily Live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. And so what we will do now is we will catch you up with the head coach at Johns Creek, Kelly Bowler. And Kelly and Johns Creek went to McIntosh last night. It was our game of the day in round number 2. They go and get the 1-0 win. And so here's the conversation that Jason had with Coach Bowler after a big win on the road, 2 of the top-ranked teams in their classification.
Here on the field at McIntosh High School with the winning coach, Kelly Bowler. That was a stressful match in the round of 16. How you feeling?
We knew it would be stressful. I mean, it was number 3 versus number 2 in the state. Like you said before the game, it's a game that probably shouldn't happen in the Sweet 16. So hats off to McIntosh. They were a scrappy bunch, especially when they went down a guy. They just dug in deeper. We knew we were going to have to fight and battle and scrap and try to find our way to a win at this game. Like, we knew it was going to be tough.
Game started really well for you guys, then McIntosh grew into it, and it felt like late in the first half before the goal, Samak really started to turn the game with the 1v1s. He was our player of the games. How important was he today?
He's phenomenal. I mean, he's set the school assist record this year. On top of that, he's got 19 goals. So, I mean, what are you going to do? He's something special. And so we try to get him the ball, but we have other players too. And that's the problem. You start focusing on him, then you leave Soma open, or you leave Ryan open, or you leave Martin open, or Aiden. And so we like when they triple team Samak, because normally we can find our way out of it. But we were unable to tonight. At times we held onto the ball a little bit too long, but we'll fix that. We'll fix that before we go play a Tuesday.
And you guys shut down one of the leading scorers in the state, Liam Newton-Smith. Tell me about your goalkeepers. Tell me about that back line on the clean sheet.
We've been working with them all year. They stepped up. They played aggressively on him. We knew that he was better running at goal, as you saw when he hit the post, than he is with his back to goal. Yeah. So we tried to keep him with his back to goal all night, and I mean he's a beast. I mean, and we got lucky that he didn't tie the game up there. So. Fortunate.
Big one
we'll
coming.
Take it.
Yeah, huge win tonight.
Yep.
You guys get to go back now into the Elite 8. What do you want to see be a little bit better next week?
Just our composure on in the big moments when it gets stressful like that, being able to bring the ball down and play. Yeah. Right. Our game is to play 1-2 touch, fast soccer. If we sit there and just get into a game of kickball, that doesn't suit us, as you can see, especially with a big, powerful team like McIntosh was. And so. But we did it, and we survived, and you move on another day. We didn't win that pretty against Sequoia either. So, and that's sometimes how these runs have to happen. You look at Kennesaw Mountain's run last year. You look at Campbell's run to get to Kennesaw Mountain. Neither one of them, were playing lights out soccer, but they were clamping it down, keeping the score low, winning the game, surviving. And that's what you got to do sometimes.
Big win tonight. 3 more to lift a trophy.
Yep.
Congrats.
Kelly Bowler, the head coach at Johns Creek, Jason caught up with him after the match. Big 1-0 win, and it was one goal is all you needed, and you hung on to it. Great defensive effort in a great game in and of itself. And Johns Creek was the better side. And so it ends up with a 1-0 win, and that sets up a matchup where they're going to Rome. And we'll start off our discussion on the boys' side. 5A boys, low left bracket. Johns Creek with the 1-0 win. Rome had to go to penalties. It was 2-2 after 80, 2-2 after 90, 2-2 after 100. They go to PKs. Rome wins in PKs by the score of 6-5. So Rome will host at Barron in 5 days' time. Upper left, Clark Central beat Kennesaw Mountain in Athens. So Clark Central advances, but they go to Sprayberry. Sprayberry beats Woodward Academy in a battle of two of the top-ranked teams in the classification in 5A boys. And in 5A boys, I believe, if my math is correct, if I can find it, there we go. It is number 3 versus number 5. Number 3 had to go on the road to beat number 5, 3-2. So Sprayberry goes, they're going to host Woodward, they're going to host Clark Central coming up on May the 6th. Right-hand side of the bracket, River Ridge. They shut out Chambly, and River Ridge is going to have to go to Kathleen to take on Veterans because of, once again, the coin flip dictating that the lower team in the bracket was your home team. So River Ridge is going to have to go to Kathleen to take on Veterans. Veterans shuts out Glen Academy by the score of 1-0. That is upper right in your brackets in 5A. Low right, Milton shuts out Decatur. Hab Central shuts out Lakeside Evans. So Milton has to go to Mount Airy in 5 days to take on Milton. So Milton, Hab Central. It is River Ridge at Veterans, Clark Central at Sprayberry, and Johns Creek, the 2 seed in the low left bracket, goes to Rome, who is your region champ out of Region 5. In class, we'll go 6. We'll go 6-4, and that will do it that way. Decula beat Richmond Hill at Richmond Hill last night, so they're going to go to Grayson. Grayson beat Meadow Creek 7-1. So Decula at Grayson is in 5 days' time. Mill Creek beats Etowah 4-3. And so Mill Creek now goes to Pebblebrook, who shut out Norcross last night 2-0. Also on the board, right-hand side of the bracket, Campbell saved a late penalty with 10 seconds left. They were down 1-0, came back to lead 2-1, 2-1 your final. Discovery continues to win as a 4 seed. Discovery, one of the big stories here in your brackets. Discovery goes to Campbell now after beating Marietta 2-1. So the 4 seed out of Region 8 beat a 1 seed in Carrollton. Then they turn around, beat a 2 seed in Marietta. Now they go and play the 2 seed out of Region 3. So Discovery's doing it all on the road. Low right, Duluth over Harrison 3-2. They are going to Collins Hill. Collins Hill shut out Walton by the score of 4-0. So once again in 6A, Decula at Grayson, Mill Creek at Pebblebrook, Discovery, the 4 seed at Campbell, Duluth goes to Collins Hill. Quad A boys, Druid Hills continues their great run with Coach Bodner. They beat Walnut Grove at Walnut Grove as a part of a doubleheader 3-2. BT beats Midtown 2-0 at Midtown. So Druid Hills travels to BT. Then low left, Marist is going to host after beating North Oconee 5-1. Centennial beats Stars Mill 3-1. So Centennial goes to Marist. Also on the board, East Forsyth continues to win as a 4 seed. They, in the upper right-hand part of the bracket, beat Eagles Landing to start. Last night, they beat Clarkston 1-0 in DeKalb County. So East Forsyth goes to Westminster. Westminster beat Maynard Jackson, no problem, 6-0. Dalton, the winner over Pace Academy, 3-0. They're going to host on the 6th as St. Pius scored early. They got 3 early in the first half, beat Eastside by the score of 6-1. So St. Pius goes to Dalton. Once again, Quad A boys. Druid Hills goes to BT. Centennial goes to Marist. It is East Forsyth going to Westminster. Dalton hosting St. Pius. So that is 6A. AD2 was the other division that played yesterday. Atkinson County shut out Bryan County. The number 2 team ranked in the scoreboard rankings will host Atlanta Classical, who once again in the afternoon at Silverbacks Park beat Montgomery County. And so now Atlanta Classical travels to Pearson. Low left, Towns County shuts out Chatco at Chatco by the score of 3-0. They now travel to Metter. Metter beat Irwin County by the score of 5-0. Once again, these are all on May 6th. LOA, no problem with Mount Zion Carroll. They're going to host Dooley County as Dooley County beat Claxton last night. So Dooley County continues their run. Georgia Military, 1-0 winner at home in Milledgeville to Brooks County, and they are going to take on Tryon, who shut out Washington Wilkes. So Class A Division II, Atlanta Classical at Atco, Towns at Metter, Dooley County at LOA, Georgia Military traveling to Tryon. So those are the matchups that were played yesterday. And so that is where we are in those classifications. These matches, unless something happens with scheduling and possible doubleheaders, are all set for May the 6th. On the girls' side, it was all wrapped up. Walnut Grove shuts out Druid Hills by the score of 1-0. Walnut Grove's going to go to Cambridge. Cambridge beat Midtown by the score of 5-1. So once again, just to kind of wrap up everything in Quad A girls with all the matches now being played, Walnut Grove to Cambridge, and this is on May 5, so 4 days from now. Marist at Stars Mill. Allatoona is at North Oconee. St. Pius is at Blessed Trinity. 5A girls, Greenbrier is going to host Lassiter. Lassiter shuts out Chambly 2-0. So we'll find out about Lassiter coming up here in just a little bit, and we'll get you the deets, as the kids say, when it comes to Lassiter as they travel to Greenbrier. Also, Loganville goes to Villarica, beat Villarica by the score of 1-0. They're now going to go to Northgate. Northgate beat River Ridge 3-0. Also in 5A girls, Alexander is going to go to Pope. Pope goalless after 80, 90, and 100, beating McIntosh in PKs 4-2. Alexander goes to Pope. Roswell goes to Habersham Central. So Habersham Central may try and set up a doubleheader either on the 5th or the 6th. My guess is it might be the 6th, and they will try and see if they can get that done with back-to-back dates. 6A girls, just to lay it all out for you for reminders. Once again, Mill Creek at Lambert, Walton at Harrison, North Paulding at West Forsyth, and Brookwood is at Buford. Number 1 at number 1 is at number 2. That one is on May the 5th. Quad A girls, once again, we talked about Walnut Grove and Cambridge. 5A girls, it is Lassiter at Greenbrier, Loganville at Northgate, Roswell, Hab Central, Pope is hosting Alexander. AD2 girls, it is Elite Scholars, who went to penalties and beat Hawkinsville 1-0. They're now going to go to Irwin County and take on the Indians there at Buddy Nobles. Atlanta Classical shut out Crawford County in Roberta. They're going to go to Screven County. Screven County was one of the outlying precincts. So Screven County 3-0 over Lanier. Then on the right-hand side, Portal over Portal is going to LOA. Portal beat Dooley County. Lake Oconee Academy shut out Mount Zion Carroll. Claxton over Georgia Military on the girls' side. Tryon shut out Greene County. So that's Class A D2 girls. So that means we now have another visitor. And catching up with us is Robbie Galvin, the head coach at Lassiter. Yesterday, Robbie, we had Coach Houston on with us. He was in his car in his planning period. How are you? How you doing, Robbie? You got your ears on. Can you hear me? How you doing, Robbie? You got your ears on?
Hey, John, I'm not hearing anything.
Okay. Keep talking. I can hear you.
Trying to mess with my mic.
So I can hear Robbie fine.
Oh, you can hear me. I can't hear you.
That's weird. That is odd. That is strange. All of the technology and stuff. We'll keep talking, and we'll see if we keep hitting levels and things, and we'll find out. Changing class. So that's really cool. So let me know. I'm doing a chat here with Coach. So let's see. Let me know when you think you can hear me. And if I could spell the word "let," I would do that. So, so I'm gonna keep talking and go in brackets. And so, tell you what. So we'll do this. So Robbie can sort things out, and we'll bring Robbie in just a bit. So once again, laying things out today, because today being May the 1st and round number 2, we'll lay out what it's going to look like with May the 1st. It is AD1 girls. It is double A girls. It is triple A girls. And it is private girls. So that's the rundown for today. And we'll go through all of the matchups, and we'll let you know what your matchups are going to be. And we'll catch up hopefully with Robbie Galvin here coming up in just a little bit and find out what the latest is there at Lassiter as we're getting ready for their matchup coming up with Greenbrier in short order. So we'll get the latest from Lassiter coming up here in just a little bit. Like I said, I have my chat open, and I could hear Robbie fine, but just when he thinks that he can hear me, we will work the magic, and we'll work the microphones, and we'll get everything squared away. So class, this is girls action today. AD1 girls. It is Bremen hosting Elbert County. Lamar at Jeff Davis. Once again, we talked to Coach Lawson there. Worth County's at Dade. Dodge is at Social Circle. That's the left-hand side of the bracket in AD1 girls. Toombs is at Thomasville. Swainsboro travels to Model. Armurchie is at East Lawrence. And Fitzgerald travels to Ace Charter. So that's your matchups in Class A Division 2. In Division 2 and Double A girls, Stevens County is at Pike County. They both had shutouts. All the winners in the upper left-hand part of the bracket, they had shutouts in round number 1. Stevens County is at Pike. Sonoraville's at East Jackson. Then lower part of the bracket, Coahulla Creek is hosting Shaw. Tech Career at Team 20 with an upset. They go to Drew Charter. Also in Double A on the right-hand side, Therrell goes to Savannah Arts. Pierce County goes to Thompson. Murray County goes to Morgan County. Both of those teams had shutouts in the first-round matches. Callaway goes to Columbus, who had 0 problems with South Atlanta in a matchup of Team 2 and Team 31. So that's your Double A. So that's where we are with those particular matchups. We'll get you into triple and all of the others coming up here as we go. And darned technology. Darn technology. So, like I said, it'll be just hopefully we can catch up with Robbie and he can hear us, because I could hear him fine. So I don't know what technology is yielding for us, but we'll get our answers here coming up in just a little bit. So on the girls' side, let's see what happens if we go here. Robbie, you got your ears on.
Oh. Yeah, that's so crazy. I tried to log in on a different computer, and I still can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you.
With the firewall at my school.
I can still hear you fine. I can hear you fine on either one. You were good. You're good either way. You were good.
I can't hear on either one.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. That's crazy. I mean, let's see. So, like I said, I'm trying to have a chat at the same time I'm trying to catch up with Coach. Let's see. So, I'm trying to think. Let's maybe we do this. How about that? Because we've had coaches do it this way. How about this? Maybe that. If you log in on your phone, you want to try it that way? We can try it that way. So if we do that, we'll see if Robbie can do it off of his phone. Man, technology's bugging me today. So we'll see. Let's see what happens there. So if his computers are attached to a firewall, then we could sit there and try and look at it that way. All right. So Double A girls, that's the rundown there. Triple A girls, this is today. Lumpkin County's at Jefferson. ARC is at Dawson County. Gilmer is at Bainbridge. That's a trek. Cherokee Bluff is at Northwest Whitfield. That's the left-hand side of the bracket in AAA. Heritage Catoosa travels to Whitewater. Whitewater may end up having a doubleheader next week if they continue to win. Adairsville and Luella. Long County is traveling to Sandy Creek, and Oconee County is going to Harlem. So let's see about firewalls now. How about firewalls?
We're in.
Hey, there we go. All right.
We're in, man.
It's firewalls and computers and things like that. So all right, we'll do it this way. First off, I'm glad we figured out the technology more than anything else.
Absolutely.
Thanks for doing this. We caught up with Coach Houston in his car yesterday in his planning period. I hope I didn't get him into any kind of trouble. What's study hall been like getting ready for the next round?
It's fast paced at this point, especially for this time of year. We have to travel a little bit of a distance to go down there to Evans, and so having to get all the pieces together for that game with travel plans and navigating AP testing, EOC testing. It's a lot, but my principal and AD have worked with me real well to get all that done. So we're ready for next Monday.
Yeah, let's talk about the Chambly match and talk about your first two. First off, we were on our air for the matchup of number 3 versus number 7 when you shut out Johns Creek and everything was humming. Then you go up against a Chambly team. You haven't given up a goal. I guess I should knock on wood. You haven't given up a goal this postseason.
We haven't, and I give one to Irk Russell here. Bend but don't break is what Irk Russell and the Junkyard Dogs used to say. We've certainly bent a couple times, man. Johns Creek, they had a potent attack. So too did Chambly, who challenged us a little bit, but we were able to keep the clean sheet. And it helps to have a center back and Haley John Baptiste back there, senior captain, and then Malia Lodwick, who's going to Auburn in goal. They certainly help keep those clean sheets back there.
Yeah, obviously, folks are drawn to the goals that you score. That's obvious. But
sure.
What has it been like to have this defense step up the way that they have in the regular season, plus what you've seen so far in the postseason?
The whole defense wins championships is so cliche, right? But I'll be honest, my 2 state titles were driven by my back line and my goalkeepers. Both times I've been able to hold that trophy into the season. It wasn't really our attack was great. Don't get me wrong. Had great players, midfielders, forwards, all of that. You've got to have the whole package, to win at this level in the state of Georgia. Given the state of soccer here, but both of those groups, man, the defense was phenomenal, fantastic, and you gotta have that.
So this time of year, and I had Brian Lawson from Jeff Davis on before you were on the show today, and I was asking him about getting film and film study when it comes to this time of year, and he said that the regular season is fine. You can do your horse trading and catch up with folks, but it is incredibly harder the deeper that you go into the playoffs, trying to find tape on your opponents. And he's part of the football program, the FOOTBALL program is there as well. And in football during the fall, there are ways to get film. Is it difficult for you to find stuff on your opponents, or are you having to go into the dark corners and slide envelopes like in Trading Places and parking decks?
Listen, it's sometimes it's difficult to get film. And listen, I totally get it and respect it. We as coaches have relationships and have friendships, and there are certain teams and certain coaches that kind of have built rapport and relationships with that are always willing to help. And therefore, in the same regard, if someone's reaching out to me about something like that, I might, hey, I'm going to protect this coach, protect this film. I always, me personally, in something I talk to my girls, I always try to have integrity. If someone sends me film, that's their property. It's not mine to then pass on to somebody else. If it's later on down the season, I appreciate them sending me film on the opponent I was hoping to scout. But then at that point, that's not my property. That's kind of how I carry myself. So sometimes it's a little bit harder to get stuff, but you always try. You always try and look at, reaching out to teams and coaches. But also, it's a great way to connect with coaches too, even if you can't get film. Building a relationship with them for the future and to maybe scheduling a non-region game, or if they need help down the road, or you do as well.
With your pedigree, this kind of spurred about 19 different questions in my head. First question, I'll just do it this way. How difficult was Region 6-5A to navigate for you this year?
Man, it was tough. Yeah, it was really tough. The previous 2 years, I felt like we were in the region of death, and I would have put that region up against maybe any region or conference in the entire nation at the girls soccer level. I mean, it was wild. Last year, Blessed Trinity did not make it out of our region, and this year, with pretty much returning their team, they're playing in the Elite Eight right now, and could potentially make a run at a state title in 4A. And it's not because they dropped down classifications. 4A is legit. I mean, that's a legit soccer classification as well. So I was a little bit excited. Not excited, maybe not the word for it, but a little bit more like, oh, okay, some breathing room this year in this region. And it turned out to be a difficult one, a very difficult one. That Creekview team out of our region that didn't make playoffs was a really good team. And it came down to the final play date for region to get, or for Creekview to get knocked out, River Ridge to punch a ticket, as well as Riverwood.
I mean, River Ridge wins a first round playoff game. They go on the road to beat Milton, and then you had Riverwood, who's ranked number 10 in the scoreboard rankings. They were paired up against the top ranked team in Roswell in the opening round, and then you and Pope are in the upper half of the bracket, and you're playing on the 5th. You've got to make the road trip, and Alexander's going to Pope. But I think that speaks once again to what 6-5A is up to this year.
Yeah, it was a really good region. A lot of really good players, and I think some well-coached teams as well.
When you set up your schedule, because of your pedigree and because of what you've been able to accomplish historically at Lassiter, is it easy for you to set up non-region games because folks want to sit there and try and knock off the big dog? Or is it one of those where, nah, man, I love the fact that you called, but no, I'm not interested. Where is it for you when it comes to non-region scheduling?
It's a little bit of both. Sometimes it's easier than others. I always try to have I want to have a balanced schedule. I think it's a war of attrition. So a balanced schedule is good. I also want to have games where I know that, I can rest a player here, move a player in here, try some stuff out. And then also, too, for me, like at Lassiter, we have a really good relationship. We feel like Lassiter, we're one program, boys and girls. So I like to do double headers, boys and girls. There are some teams that want to play girls only or boys only. And, that obviously makes things difficult sometimes too, because maybe that school, their boys program struggles and their girls is top notch or vice versa. But we try to avoid those when we can. It's just so much easier from a logistics standpoint to play both on the same night, but also, I want to be able to support the boys, and I know the boys want to be able to support us. So I know I didn't really answer your question. It can be hard. It can be difficult. It's just kind of year to year and team to team and program to program.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, if there were, if you had to call, like, Nassau High in the Bahamas because no one else wants to play you in the state of Georgia with pedigree or anything like that.
Yeah. No, it's not. Listen, I appreciate you saying our pedigree. I really appreciate that, and I want to give credit to all the girls who have come through Lassiter to build this program and give us that reputation. But there's a lot of top-notch teams in the state of Georgia and Metro Atlanta specifically. So it's year to year. If you make a run in Georgia, you're a team. I mean, your girls can play.
16-3 coming into the matchup next week, but there was a point in the season where you had the loss at Pope. You lose 2-1. You lose at Allatoona 1-0. What did you learn about yourself losing those two matches in 3 days?
I don't think it was so much what I learned then. I think it was what I learned when we came back from spring break and responded. That's when I learned about my team. We had a long heart-to-heart on the field at Allatoona after that 1-0 loss. And listen, Allatoona's legit. They're good. They're a really, really good team. And so too is Pope. Both are still fighting in the Elite Eight and playing for a Final Four berth next week as well. And, the short turnaround playing Allatoona after that Pope, physical and mental load that was that Pope Region Championship game, it was really, really difficult to turn around and play a really strong Altoona game going into spring break. But still, I hope that we would have responded better for that Altoona game. We didn't. We had a heart-to-heart after, and we've responded well. The vibe, the energy, the buy-in, the will, all of that at training since we've gotten back from spring break is totally different. And it's been really fun and enjoyable to see that response. And as a coach, I've been very proud with my girls in the way that they've responded, and very happy that they've gotten the results because of that. Not just the response in training, but they're seeing the fruits of their labor by an Elite Eight berth as well.
Upper left in the 5A bracket, Lassiter ranked number 3 in the scoreboard rankings, traveling to Greenbrier next week. So thank you for hanging out. I have one more question for you. You do have players heading to the next level, but
Yes.
what I have co-opted here on the show is when I do the Football Fridays broadcast for GPB in the fall, Hannah Gooden, Matt Stewart, and I have a segment that we call Make That Kid an Offer. And I put $1 in the jar because on this show, I use air quotes. And so every time I use air quotes, it's $1. And it's what we do for Make That Kid an Offer is for that student athlete that is too whatever. You could have a coach sit there and say, "Oh, they're too short," or their wingspan isn't big enough, or their grades aren't big enough, or whatever. Do you have student athletes there at Lassiter that you think deserve to get looks from higher levels than they're getting looks, or just deserve looks that they're not getting, period? Who would fit in that Make That Kid an Offer category for you?
Are you talking about a current senior or?
Yeah. Look, I've had coaches tell me freshmen and sophomores that you got to keep an eye on. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got 6 seniors this year. 4 have signed to go play Division I soccer, and all 4 absolutely 100% deserve to play at that level. And I'm excited to see what that plays out for them. The one of the girls, not the 4, Haley John Baptiste, the center back who I mentioned earlier, she decided like last week to just go to the Ohio State University to just be a normal student, if you will.
Yeah.
I know that she was kind of holding on, waiting out for maybe an offer to an Ivy League school or something like that. She is the ultimate student athlete. I mean, that girl has a GPA higher than yours and mine combined. No offense, John, but I'm probably bringing us down.
Take it, brother. You're right there.
Yeah, I'm bringing us down. But so I was hopeful that maybe that was going to work out for her. She was talking to Yale at one point. She even was talking to West Point at one point.
Wow.
So hoping that maybe the athletic and academic career at those schools would have worked out for her. So that's the offer that I would make. I'll stand behind all 6 of my seniors. But you're saying for me to make an offer for one that didn't get one, it'd be her.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, it doesn't just have to be the one; it can be, a couple of different ones. But yeah, what we try to do is with that question is kind of shine a light on folks that may not be getting the attention that they deserve for whatever the reason is. The stereotyping that happens when recruiters come by, or they sit there and they see tape and they see one thing, but they don't look at the whole. That's why we decided to bring that over to showcase all the student athletes here in the state of Georgia. Thank you for doing this. The promo one more time. It's on the 5th out at Greenbrier. So let everybody know what they need to do and road trip with you next week.
Hey, just I know we'll have a big group of families coming down there, and we always appreciate the travel as we get down there. But we just gotta keep responding the way that we have since spring break. That's the plan. We know Greenbrier's a really, really good team too. You're not in that position by luck or by chance. So we just got to play well, do our thing, and hope that we can punch another ticket to the Final Four.
You got it. So late in the afternoon on the 5th, Lassiter ranked number 3 at Greenbrier. Since you now have the garage door opener, you know that you can come into the studio at any time when we're doing things. You just want to crash and say hi. You know how to get into the studio. You can crash at any time. Great to see you. And do not be a stranger here when we do our high school programming. It's fantastic you were able to do this. Do you need a note to your principal or anybody about
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm about to jump into some lunch now.
All right, yes, please go jump into some lunch. I'm about to do the same in about 10 minutes. As always, great to see you, Robbie.
John, appreciate it. Sorry for the troubles with the sound.
Hey, we figured it out. It's firewalls, and we just do it with phones. That's the way it is. It's all good, brother. We'll see you soon.
That's right. Take care, buddy.
All right, bye. There goes Robbie Gowan, the head coach at Lassiter. And so I'm glad that we got to catch up and find out what's going on with him. All right, so let's go through the last class that I think it was private. We had not had the chance to do private. So private today, and that links into our programming. Mount Vernon and Hebron Christian. That's at 5:30. It is going to be a double header at Hebron Christian. Trinity Christian's boys are going to come to Hebron Christian and Decula as well. So Mount Vernon, who beat Trinity Christian's girls in round one, they Trinity Christian, Mike Townsend and Chad Griffin, they had a bit of a talk, and they were thinking if they were going to do a doubleheader, they would do a doubleheader. But even as Trinity Christian did lose to Mount Vernon in a 16-17, it's still going to be honored as a doubleheader date. So Mount Vernon's girls play Hebron Christian's girls at 5:30 on the network, pregame at 5:15 from Decula. Then after that, that's the boys matchup with Hebron Christian taking on Trinity Christian's boys. That's going to be coming up at 7:30 or after the match with Mount Vernon is completed. Also upper left, Holy Innocents is taking on St. Vincent's. Both their opponents were shutouts in the first round. So it is St. Vincent's hosting Holy Innocents in the 8-9. Lovett shut out Kings Ridge. They're hosting Fellowship Christian, who shut out Galloway. Paideia shut out Mount Pisgah, and they travel to Wesleyan, who shut out Landmark Christian. Now, right-hand side, Darlington is going to GAC. Shutouts there as well. So it is Team 14 going to team number 3. Atlanta International, AIS, is Team 22. They knocked off Providence Christian round one. They are probably in a bus right now, traveling to Calvary Day, who shut out the Weber School, upper right in the bracket. And so lower right, Athens Academy shut out Savannah Christian. They host Whitfield Academy, who shut out PAC. The Walker School as Team 15, they're going to Savannah Country Day. So, wow, maybe the Walker School and AIS could have, partnered up and they could have, ride shared. They could have Ubered together. The Walker School at 15 goes to Savannah Country Day at Team 2, and that is your matchups in private girls. So let's check our start times. Once again, our start times on the network at 5:30 and 7:30, and that is when we're going to be up there at Hebron Christian. So looking at start times once again, we'll see if there's anything going on in the let's see. So girls and soccer. So our start times, Walker and Savannah Country Day has been pushed to 4 o'clock for obvious reasons. So probably the Walker School would be, if you want to get there 3-2, you're probably in Dublin right now. So if you're in Dublin and you're going out I-16, just be careful. Walker and Savannah Country Day, that's at 4 o'clock. Murray and Morgan is at 5 o'clock. Morgan County at 11 and 5. Also at 5 o'clock, it is Adairsville and Luella. Long County is 15 and 2, traveling to Sandy Creek. East Lawrence 13 and 3, hosting Armurchie at 5. Therrell and Savannah Arts Academy, who's at 15 and 2. Fellowship Christian and Lovett. Those are all 5 o'clock matchups. Heritage and Whitewater is at 5:30, along with Mount Vernon and Hebron Christian. Paideia goes to Wesleyan, who is 16 and 1. Shaw goes to Coahulla Creek, who is 13 and 6. We had their matchup with Fort Payne on our air earlier this season. Fitzgerald travels to Ace Charter. That one's at 5:30, as well as Cherokee Bluff and Northwest Whitfield. Swainsboro and Model, 2 teams that have won 13 matches each this season. Elbert County and Bremen. Worth and Dade. Stevens and Pike. Sonoraville and East Jackson is at 6, along with ARC and Dawson. East Jackson and Sonoraville. Gilmer and Bainbridge. Gilmer probably left after breakfast this morning. That's Ellijay to Bainbridge for a round 2 match. Callaway and Columbus is at 6:30. Holy Innocents and St. Vincent's is at 7. Lumpkin and Jefferson is at 7 at the Jefferson Soccer Stadium. And Armurchie and East Lawrence, and then we have all those other matchups. And so that is your rundown of times and everything for today in girls soccer. We'll see if outside of the matchup at 7:30 at Hebron Christian that there are any boys matchups today. And like I said, just And it always defaults to November 16th of last year when I'm trying to find boys' scores. All right, so today, 10 matchups. Southeast Bullock and Jefferson, that was turned into a doubleheader. That's at 5 o'clock. And Pearson Tatnall is at 6. Jeff Davis and Swainsboro, we know about that doubleheader. Jackson and Morgan's at 7. Gilmer and Whitewater is at 7:30. And so that's your rundown of the boys' matchup. So a handful of boys' matchups to tie everything together today with doubleheaders and such. SEB traveling to Jefferson. So that one starts at 5 o'clock as a part of the doubleheader action going on in Jefferson today. Wow. So all of the upsets that we had yesterday, absolutely crazy. So McIntosh is out. Lambert is out on the boys' side. And so it's going to bring some interesting matchups coming forward. And, a lot of the teams that you had anticipated being there are not going to be there. You look at 4, 5, and 6. Once again, Druid Hills as a 4 seed has advanced. They're going to take on BT. Marist and Centennial, you figured that Stars Mill would be a part of that discussion, but they lose in PK, and they lose 3-1 to Centennial. St. Pius had an early start. They got 3 goals on the board at East Side, and so they're going to Dalton. Dalton got a scare in round number 1, beating Kell 4-3. Then they shut out Pace Academy 3-0. East Forsyth and Westminster. And so East Forsyth continues as a 4 seed as a real surprise. Clarkston as a 2 seed bumped out with that 1-0 win last night. And so Westminster advances in Quad A. Once again, 5A, Clark Central at Sprayberry. Sprayberry, number 3, number 5 at Woodward Academy. So Sprayberry, the higher-ranked team, advances there. Rome's going to host Johns Creek. It was great to hear from Kelly Bowler earlier in the show. Milton and Habersham Central. Keep an eye on Habersham Central. That might be a doubleheader considering what we're seeing out of Mount Airy this season so far. And then River Ridge is going to have to go on the road to Kathleen to take on Veterans. Veterans beat Glen Academy in Middle Georgia last night by the score of 1-0. 6A, once again, Tequila works their way through. They beat Richmond Hill. They're going to number 1 Grayson. Mill Creek has worked their way through, knocking off Etowah. So a 3 seed goes to Pebblebrook, the region champs out of Region 3. Collins Hill has made it through. Duluth has made it through. So that's chalk low right. Discovery, another 4 seed that has done tremendously well here in the postseason. 4 seed knocking off number 5 Carrollton. Then they knock off Marietta at Marietta. Now they're going to Campbell, who beat Lambert. That was one of the big surprises once again last night in 6A boys. Lambert losing, McIntosh losing. That's it in boys action last night. Those were 2 stunners. 82, Atco, once again, no problems. They're going to be hosting Atlanta Classical, Lake Oconee Academy, and Dooley County getting the win on Claxton. So Dooley County continues to make their way through as a 2, and they're going to go to Lake Oconee Academy, who's just putting up stunning numbers this season. Towns County gets the win on the road at Chatco. They're going to go to Metter at number 6. Georgia Military goes to Tryon. Tough test for Georgia Military, taking on Brooks County, who is ranked top 10. Tryon right now, top-ranked team as well. They're the top 10 team out of Area 6. Team 1. So GMC is going to go to Tryon, and we'll try and catch up to Bobby Jaworski and find out what his thoughts are early next week. Remember, no show tomorrow because we will be at the media match, and you can watch that at atlutd.com/live. I think it's going to be me and Mike and Mike Connie and Jason Longshore upstairs, myself and Joe Freihofer downstairs, talking to all the media members and finding out what it's like to go up against themselves and Atlanta United personnel. So that's going to be fun tomorrow. And we'll be back at it again with, with Playoffs Daily on Monday. And then we'll continue another 2 weeks of Playoff Daily, Playoff Live, Daily Live. Soccer's in Session, Playoff Daily Live, presented by Kaiser Permanente. And we'll be back at it again. We know what we'd like to do next week, and so we're trying to track down those schools and see if we can get the ball rolling, so to speak, and be at the locations that we'd like to be at on Monday and Tuesday. And we'll let you know where we are when we get the official okey doke from our friends at each of these campuses. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks to Brian Lawson at Jeff Davis. Thanks to Kelly Bowler. Thanks to Robbie Galvin. And thanks to you. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks for dropping by for another go-round of Soccer is in Session Playoff Daily Live, presented by Kaiser Permanente. Tonight, 5:30 and 7:30, the doubleheader at Hebron Christian, Mount Vernon on the girls' side, and on the boys' side, Trinity Christian. Play safe, everybody. Mucha plats, y'all, since it's the end of the show. That means I get to do this. See you at 5:30 from Hebron Christian tonight on the network. Play it safe.